Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video by yours truly. We are going to be talking about my most valuable light cones that I've built up and invested into heavily that I use in Honkai Star Rail day in and day out to clap the cheeks on the highest level. This is going to be a video for the beginner audience, for the people who are still progressing towards the end game. Hell, it might even be a video for people who are in the end game, who have been playing it since day one, and just maybe didn't know about some of the intricacies of some of these light cones and their values. Keep in mind, these light cones are really more so of a universal value. That means that I'm not going to have every goddamn light cone under the sun in Honkai Star Rail that's good up on this tier list. We're going to have only light cones. It's kind of like a doctor scenario. I'm going to prescribe you good light cones that are universally good, but I might leave something out like Kafka's signature light cone or Imbiber Lunay's signature light cone. Why? Because those are incredibly niche and only good to like one unit. So keep that in mind when we take a look at these light cones, because you know how this community is. You know what I mean? They might think I let down their countries and families if I don't include their light cone. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. I'm excited to share with you guys my list. Okay, the way we're gonna do this is I already have them laid out. You know, we have what the fuck value, and then we have S tier, right? Again, we didn't put every single light cone under the sun. I already explained that. But every single one of these light cones, if you invest into them or have them on your account, they are bringing your account massive value. And we're going to go over each and every one, why I placed them, where I placed them, all the good stuff. Let's start off with Dance, Dance, Dance. You guys know I talk about Dance, Dance, Dance all the goddamn time on my channel. But maybe you don't know why I'm such a raving fan of it. So let's just go over that. First and foremost, this is Ting Yun, in my personal opinions, best in slot. Some people think they like this because she gets her ult up faster. But let me tell you something. In strategy games and turn-based games, nothing is more important than action value, or I guess if we're going to put it on a universal scale for all strategy games, nothing's more important than being able to go first before the enemy can go. And this light cone advances your entire team's action value upon using the ult on the Harmony character you have it on. Ting Yun, case in point, is the only character in the entire game where she can go into battle with her ult already up. If you pop her technique twice, which you can do that if you didn't know that, you can literally spam Ting Yun's technique twice to have a full-blown ult ready to ult as soon as you go into battle. So you can go into battle with somebody like her, spam the ult before the enemy has a chance to do anything, and she's going to action value advance your entire team, and the game is going to take into consideration their new action value and compare it to the enemies. And if you still are confused, just know you're going to be way faster than the enemy. Your whole team typically is going to go before the enemy has a chance to go. This is why I'm always able to run no healers on a lot of my speed runs. If you see all those zero cycles I do, you'll notice it's always because my Ting Yun has a Dance, 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 and I do all my buffs, debuffs, and combos. I get it all going and shaking before they even get a chance to go because of Dance, Dance, Dance. So it is a best in slot triple S tier Harmony light cone for Ting Yun, but it can also be used on people like Yukong. Yukong can use it as well, and honestly all the Harmony units, but you're gonna get the best value out of units who get their ult up fast, like Ting Yun, Yukong with the energy recharge rope, because then you're gonna be getting that action value advancement. Now, the number one reason it's good is to prevent damage, and it's a simultaneous offensive defensive light cone, right? Prevent from taking damage and also enable your team to set up. That's number one. Number two is because you can put multiple units into the party with offensive boots, like attack percent boots, or maybe you have blade HP percent boot. And if you speed tune them correctly, multiple units will rock offensive boots to make them much stronger and still be able to go twice. This is another value of Dance, 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 making the whole team get their action value down super low. They're still going twice with offensive boots. Those are my two favorite things about this. And in my personal opinion, no other light cone touches this light cone. It's just insane value, which is why Ting Yun's also triple S tier. Now, moving on to Bronya's light cone. Bronya's light cone, the most value of it comes from being put onto Bronya. And that's because Bronya's skill can bring anybody up and make them go immediately, which enables her to just guarantee the damage bonus that is attached to this light cone. This light cone says give a damage bonus to whoever is going next. When you use Bronya's skill, that person automatically cheats the system and goes next. So you never have to worry about speed tuning anything with your team when you have this light cone on Branya, as opposed to every other unit. You have to literally make sure that they are positioned right before your main DPS goes. If they're not positioned before your main DPS goes and they're positioned before your healer goes, the healer is going to get the damage bonus, who does no damn damage at all. So it's the best bang on Branya because of how her kit works. It's designed perfectly for her. That said, it can also be utilized on Ting Yun to generate a skill point to the whole entire party. Obviously, when you use her ult, you get that skill point back. The energy recharge on it is very good. Its base stats are incredibly high. So Ting Yun, you may have to speed tune it on her or Yukong, but just the base stats alone make them very tanky. It has some very tanky base stats. HP and defense incredibly high, higher than any other Harmony light cone. And then the energy recharge enables you to build up ult much more quicker. So I really like this light cone for those very purposes. But again, it's really for Branya. That's not to say it can't be used on other units, but best bang for your buck, Branya. Jing Yuan. Still to this day, I think the most broken signature light cone in the entirety of the whole game. Now, if you don't use erudition units, obviously this light cone's not for you, right? The reason it's broken is because it gives you non-conditional damage bonuses, which for the most part, which enables you to use it on almost every single erudition unit. You really can use it on every single erudition unit, but the reason I say almost is because the last part of its description is only a follow-up attack bonus damage. And obviously only units that have follow-up attack mechanics can take advantage of that last part. But it's a free crit damage bonus, a free skill damage bonus, and then a follow-up attack damage bonus. You got Jing Yuan, you got Xing Shui, you got Himiko, and then you've got Herta. So that's 4 whole erudition units that can use one signature light cone, whereas all of the signature light cones that came after it, they're all very niche and can only be used on the character that they're promoting the light cone for, or maybe 2 characters tops. But this light cone, as well as Seala's light cone, they were the golden light cones that allow you to use them on many different characters inside of that path. So that's why they're of incredibly high value. And I'm not going to go over Seala's light cone. I'm just going to put it into that same concept as Jing Yuan's. It's not as broken as Jing Yuan's because it's a little bit more conditional, but it's still valuable to the degree where you can pretty much put it on almost every single hunt path character and reap tons of value. Now, moving on to what if you don't have Seala's light cone? Well, there's this light cone called Swordplay with Su Shang on there. And it is the most broken hunt path light cone that is not Seala's light cone. In fact, if you have it at S5, unlike Seala's light cone, you can quite literally put it on anybody because it just gives a damage bonus to whomever is using it. And the only condition, just hit one target. And the thing that's even more broken about it is it gives the bonus per tick. So it says give a damage bonus every time you hit an enemy. So if your unit does a 5-piece chicken nugget combo, meaning their one hit hits 5 times, all 5 ticks will stack the damage bonus, and it stacks up to 5 times. So that's what makes this light cone even more absurdly broken. The only downside of it is if you switch to another target, the stacks start all the way over again. So that's the only downside of it. But apart from that, this at S5 can quite literally be put on any hunt path unit in the game now and going forward, since the only condition to get the damage bonus is just to attack one unit. Now take that same exact concept and apply it to Good Night Sleep Well. This is going to be the Nihility version of Swordplay. So Swordplay is good for hunt path as a 4-star S5 Gacha light cone. Good Night and Sleep Well is going to be the Nihility version of that. The only condition is you have to get full benefit of it, you have to have 3 debuffs on the target's head. But since you're a Nihility unit, you're already debuffing them yourself. And usually the dynamic of Nihility units, you're going to be attaching them to a team where a lot of people are putting debuffs on an enemy's head. Basically what I'm trying to say is the condition for it is very easy to achieve. And then if you're trying to make a Nihility unit like Welt or even Kafka a main DPS, this is one of the best options in the game if you're not using their signature light cone, because its damage bonus is just so freaking high. Like I said, it's pretty much the Nihility version of Swordplay. But yeah, picking that up and getting it at S5 if possible is a banger value for your account. Finally, this light cone right here, Memories of the Past. Some people will argue that this is best in slot for Ting Yun, because if you have it at S5 and you put an energy recharge rope on her with the Von Wick set, then you can get her ult up a lot of times. Me personally, it's not touching Dance Dance Dance. However, it is an option that is beneficial in niche scenarios, depending on the team composition you're running, and it is very strong. I do, however, believe it is debatably best in slot for Asta, because Asta can one turn ult with this light cone. If you have an energy recharge rope on her, and you have this at S2, I'm not sure if it's at S1, I'll be honest. But if you have it at least S2 with the energy recharge rope on your Asta, and you have her E4, which gives her another 15% energy recharge with 2 stacks or higher of her passive. I know that's a lot to take in. All of those conditions will enable you to one turn ult with Asta once you use her skill going into battle. So this is a very high valued light cone for Asta. I also like it on Ting Yun, even though I don't run anything other than Dance 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 on her. I think it's also going to be very strong on Hanya, and it's going to be good on Ruin Mei. So this has some value on it, and if you have it built up, there's plenty of people who will take advantage of this light cone and the Harmony path. Finally, this one is no longer available, but just in case you are somebody who did acquire it and you're not using it, it is best in slot for Pella. It is the most absurdly broken light cone in the game for Pella. It is better than this one down here, in my personal opinion, because her energy recharge is just freaking insane. It's also obviously good for Silverwolf, and then it's also good if you do not have Sampo's light cone. So these are the two few light cones in the Nihility light cone path that give effect hit rate on their innate stats. If you don't have Sampo's light cone, this is the only other one that's going to give you some effect hit rate. So because of that, this is also a good option for people like Luca, Sampo, well, people who need to hit their effect hit rate markers to land their debuffs. This is also a strong option. So long story short, it's broken for Pella, best in slot for Pella and Silverwolf if you don't have a signature light cone. And if you're not using it on them, it's still good to use just for the effect hit rate stat. But it's no longer available. So for the people who don't have this light cone, we'll just pray it comes back around. And if it doesn't, no, that's tough. I use this shit religiously on my Pella. Now, finally, Rendezvous, Planetary Rendezvous. It's just pretty much a damage bonus given to everybody of the same element. A lot of people do use this. I don't think it's good as Dance Dance Dance, because sometimes you don't need the extra damage. Sometimes you need faster action advancement. Sometimes you need faster ults up. You don't need the extra damage bonus, but meatheads will put this on their units over Dance 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 and Memories of the Past, when in reality they have higher priority, right? But with that being said, people like Asta and Yukong, who already give innate damage bonuses thanks to their traces to people of the same element, with the new energy recharge set, which is pretty much another Planetary Rendezvous concept, on top of Planetary Rendezvous itself, you can pretty much give like 40-50% max uptime damage bonus to all units of the same element, which makes that a ridiculously strong option for doing max DPS. Or not max DPS, max damage per screenshot possibly. I think max DPS is still going to come with prioritizing ult uptime and action value advancement. Now, moving on to Sampo's light cone. If you do not have Silverwolf's light cone, the next best option is going to be Sampo's light cone, because it comes with effect hit rate as well. Again, sometimes you got to hit those markers for people like Welt, Luca, Sampo, and yeah, pretty much, or new girl, fire girl, Gwen Ifen. This is a strong option because it gives you effect hit rate as well as dot increase. So it's also a very strong option for dot characters like the ones I just mentioned. So this is a sleeper because it doesn't seem good, but I always find myself using it to fill in that gap for my dot compositions. So don't sleep on that one. Very strong, especially if you don't have this as well. Moving on, this one here I think is overrated, because a lot of people will tell you to use this on Pella over this, but your Pella's battery is just infinitely better with this light cone. If you have this, furthermore, if you don't have this at S5, its base chance to activate it is very low. So you like have to have it at S5 for it to really be of banker value. Otherwise, you have to like build so much effect hit rate on your units, and it's just a pain in the ass to do. Plus, it's a 1-turn duration on the defensive shred. It'd be much better if it was a 2-turn duration. So you really have to like know what the fuck you're doing to make this light cone's value really pop. That said, it is great value, but I find myself pretty much going back to the Silverwolf light cone. Every time I use this light cone, I'm like, I'm gonna go back to this. So I don't know. Different strokes for different folks. I personally think it's a great light cone that's just not as good as Silverwolf's light cone. Anyways, people get pretty much wrapped up into, oh, more damage, more damage, more damage versus things of like utility nature and resource viable. Yeah, that's just my opinion on that. Anyways, this one is the best abundance path light cone that is just easy to acquire. The energy recharge is pretty much the only reason why it's very good. Healers having more energy recharge is just a good thing. It's like, I'm not going to dive too deep into it. Just know post-op is so fucking good just because of its energy recharge. The outgoing healing is nice too, but that energy recharge on an abundance unit is just cracked. This one, if you have Blade and you don't have a signature light cone, this is quite literally the only other option in the game that's of actual value to Blade. It's also good for Arlon, obviously, and it's good for it can be good for Clara as well, because she's always getting hit and taking damage, but it's more of on the niche side of things. It is the destruction path sword play, but then again, if your health is not low, you're not getting the maximum value, it loses value. So it's still a very strong option if you don't have anything else. But it's really for Blade, Arlon, and Clara. Now, finally, this one I had to put in here because if you have the budget, if you're a budget spender and you always buy the battle pass, if you invest in this light cone over the course of 5 months, it is a budget Jing Yuan option that can be used across every single erudition unit. It scales off of how much energy they have and gives you a damage bonus to their entire kit. So it's good for people like obviously Xing Shui, but it's also good for Argenti, who's going to have a ridiculous amount of energy recharge, and he's going to give you a fat damage bonus back to them. It's also good for Jing Yuan. Pretty much anybody with pretty high energy costs, or even they don't even have to have high energy costs, just giving a damage bonus for free to your entire kit is just of high value, but it is a battle pass option, so that's worth considering. Finally, Japard's light cone. I know I'm not the only one that plays Honkai Star Rail that has lost 50/50s to this godforsaken light cone in the standard banner. If you're one of them, don't actually, I know it stings at first, but just know it's actually a really fucking good light cone. Why? Just like Jing Yuan and what is her name, Seela's signature light cone, it is universally applicable to all preservation units, and increasing the aggro of your unit is always a good thing for preservation units. And then it gives effect hit rate on top of that. You can quite literally slap this on any preservation unit in the game and it will bring immense value. It's got good raw stats on it. It's actually a really good light con. It just sucks to lose a 50/50 to it. And those guys are my top rated light cones in Honkai Star Rail. Now, are there other good light cones in the game to use? Absolutely. But these light cones, building them up, you cannot go wrong with. Universal, very good value, and you can clear the hardest content in the game when used correctly. As always, thanks for watching, guys. I hope I brought y'all some good value. Peace, love, and happiness, and I'll catch you on the flip side.